Hi everyone, my name is Shannon Huff, and today I'm going to be teaching a flipped lesson on the scientific method. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to list the 6 steps of the scientific method and understand why this process is so important for conducting experiments. So let's start with the important question. What is the scientific method? The scientific method is a process that allows us to conduct and record research in order to answer questions about a specific topic. In other words, it is a process that is used to find answers to questions about the world around us. It can be used for any type of science, including nature, chemistry, or physics. So feel free to pause the video and write down this definition because you're going to need it in the future. There are many versions of the scientific method, but the one we're going to use has 6 steps. These steps are the purpose, research, hypothesis, experiment, analysis, and conclusion. By using these steps, we will be able to stay organized as we conduct the experiments. So let's learn a little bit more about each step. Step 1 is the purpose. What is the question or problem that you would like to answer? This is the question you are going to base your entire experiment off of. This question can be simple or very complex depending on the problem you're trying to solve. So now that we have step 1, our purpose, let's go on to step 2, our research. This is where we find more information on the topic of our experiment. Be sure to use resources such as the internet or books to get as much background information on our question. This will give us a better understanding of the experiment, and it will be very useful when performing our next step. Now we have our purpose and our research, so let's see what we do next. Step 3 is our hypothesis. To better understand this step, we first need to understand what the word hypothesis means. A hypothesis is an educated guess based on observations and your knowledge of the topic, so it's probably a good thing we did a little research. In order to form our own hypothesis, you're going to have to take all the information you found in your last step by conducting your research and make a prediction of what the outcome of your experiment is going to be. So now that we have our purpose, conducted our research, and formed our hypothesis, we now move on to the fun part. In step 4, we finally get to conduct our experiment. This is where we're going to test our hypothesis. In order to test your hypothesis, you will have to come up with a procedure for a safe and reliable experiment. We always have to be sure that our experiment follows any lab safety rules. After you have finished developing your procedure, follow your steps and perform your experiment. Always be sure to record detailed observations of your outcomes. So now we have our purpose, research, hypothesis, and experiment completed. Now we go on to our analysis. This is the step where we record and observe our data. To do this, we need to know the definition of data, which is the information that is gathered during our experiment. In this step, we also decide if the data is reliable and supportive of our hypothesis. If the data is not reliable, we then have to decide how the experiment should be changed to make the data more accurate. So we've decided our problem, conducted our research, formed our hypothesis, performed our experiment, and analyzed the data from our experiment. If our data is reliable, we can go on to our final step, which is the conclusion. This is where we decide if our hypothesis was correct, and we write our summary of our results. It is okay if your hypothesis is not correct for every single experiment. That's the whole point of conducting an experiment, to learn something new. The conclusion is where we discuss anything new or unexpected that we learned during our experiment. So now we've completed the scientific method. We've learned about the purpose, where you develop a question to be answered. We've learned about research, where we collect background information about our topic. We've learned how to form a hypothesis by making a prediction based on our research. We know how to conduct an experiment that will hopefully answer our hypothesis. Then we performed our analysis to see if our experiment is giving reliable data. And we finally give our conclusion, where we wrap everything up and discuss the results of our experiment, and learn if the hypothesis is correct. So now that we know the steps, the next question is, why is this all important? By writing down our steps of an experiment, we will not only be able to recreate them in the future, but we may also see where we went wrong if there is any error. By performing these experiments multiple times, we will get more accurate results. These steps will also help to keep us very organized during our experiments. So now I want you to bring all this new knowledge to the class where we're going to be able to conduct our very first experiment. I'll see you all there.